So I'd like to thank you to all the what? Never mind. So there are many people who did this. There's a huge team. Carissa said, don't mention any individuals by name. And not only did she say that, but she gave me this list of all the names and that I'm not supposed to say. And remarkably, her name is not on it. So that's an yeah, I'm going to add one. So there was this thing has grown through volunteers and various things. So Carissa, Denise, Zoe, Roger, and Janet were part of this thing in a big way. Tim Gossett and a team helped. There were lots of volunteers: Dave, Adam, Joel, Aaron, Carlos. You met many of them during the week. The IT stuff by Kurt, the photography by Jonathan. Can I ask a question, Jonathan, since you're taking a picture? I don't even know, because I don't go to the website. Do we put all your pictures up somewhere? Do we do? Yeah, and then we put them somewhere that people can look at them? Yeah, okay. So we should do that, because the pictures he takes are wonderful. But in this year, someone made a wonderful suggestion, Cor, that we take the two best of different speakers, all of them, and send them a gift, because of what a nice thank you that would be. It's an idea. It's just an idea. We'll see what we actually do. The Colorado Bioscience Group helped, the MCDB team helped, of course, all the speakers and moderators, and all of you for coming and making this so wonderful. The sponsors, who were wonderful, I'll ask you again next year, because, so I wanna now just say a little bit, and then we'll get out of here, because I'm a little more emotional this year than ever. So, we did an experiment. We didn't have a net. We didn't really know what we were doing. I mean, I mean that for all of it, not just the interludes and the end, and whether or not it was. We actually watched balloons having sex. Okay, this is a first event ever at this thing ever. I think they were having sex, but I'm actually, I think they were. I don't know. Okay. And it would be an error to single out anything to mention after 2 days of whatever it was, 20 different things. I've learned two things that I want to share that risk, suggesting that I liked something more than something else, which is not true. I loved all of it. Unlike what Bob said, I took no notes. And if someone put up their slides, I would give your talk, because I was so ecstatic about stuff. I claim I would remember it for the exam in a week, unlike your precipitous decline in memory within minutes after learning something. So I want to say something about what happened to me today. I learned something, which is not to follow Scott and Bob ever, because in a sense they represented in these 2 days what I think this thing might become about. I hope so. And so I'll come back to that. And so all the talks are wonderful. But I want to tell you a tiny anecdote that didn't get mentioned about Ken's talk. So I met Ken at a dinner. I hope this is okay. I don't know where Ken is. I don't want to embarrass him. I met him at a dinner. It was a wonderful dinner. I got invited for God knows what reason. And I fell in love with him. And if you were here for his talk and you didn't fall in love with him, you're a dope. Actually, a real dope, okay? I'd like you to take that personally if you, okay? So I invited him then on the spot, because I knew I loved him, and I knew that at that dinner table, a dinner table filled with smart people, with almost filled. Sorry, there you go. It was filled with lots and lots of smart people. And I just knew I wanted him to come and talk about anything. I didn't care. It made no difference. Because I wanted to listen to him some more, which is how people get invited. I mean, I just want to listen to all of you. And so I invited him, and he was confused, and he said something like, well, what am I going to talk about? I said, I don't know, and so it doesn't matter to me. This is what I always say. And eventually we agreed he would come, and he did. And then he gave this talk, and at the end, I was never more motivated than I was at the end of his talk in my life. It felt like my year of reading at Yale or whatever it was. It was this kind of, this thing that said, don't stop. So he gave this talk about palliative care, but it was also about, it was about every big struggle anybody ever made for anything good. Yay for him. And he was just reporting this. He didn't do it. He didn't take credit for it. He was telling us about this glorious thing that took 3 decades. And afterwards I could barely come up. I can barely say anything now. and I said, you have to work every day toward the things you believe in, even if it's going to take 3 decades. Wow, there's a message. And so I want to figure that out as we go forward. You don't have to cry, but we're going to work on this, Bob and Scott. We're going to keep trying to figure out how to make what we do be something besides the pleasure of being here. And I think we got a little closer this year than ever, and we're going to keep it going that way. And so don't be surprised when we ask you to help, because you can't change anything with the first person and then the second over those 30 years. And then you got to intrude, you got to get to scale, and you got to go slow, and then you got to get bigger, and you got to figure out where you're going. And that talk was a metaphor for what all of this is about, a bigger problem, because your thing that you talked about today was a little part, an important, critical part that took 30 years to help patients with dying. God, okay. So now we want to help them get better when they can. We still know they're going to die. You're not going to live forever, guys. If you think you are, you're wrong. So you expect to be asked to help. Is that fair? And thank you for coming, and goodbye.